Okay.
You have one of your kids. Is it? Does it happen?
I've been missing it.
for a while.
I just graduated one from high school, and I just graduated one from pre-K.
Okay.
I think I'm in trouble. I got a ways to go. I know, I'm gonna be like 7.
Jeff, did you get all squared away with your laptop? Are you able to?
I'm in the process of trying. I got in. Board Docs wasn't open. Yeah.
That he's not able to make it.
How does it impact that reorganization? It's just
Means he gets nominated for the committees that nobody wants to do.
beautiful.
That's how that works.
Yeah,
Is
yep.
that really it? The
Yep.
short story?
Oh, yeah.
That's how that works.
I didn't realize that.
That's how life works.
What is this? He was code of conduct last year, right?
So I think Laura was on the technology ones.
Right. You say he's not gonna be able to make it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think we're not being recorded yet, right? I think Rob sent out the blast.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, and I think he probably popped up on his phone. And he said, "Oh shoot."
Whoops.
I got my weeks mixed up.
Yeah. John, here. Do we want to move that?
Two of them.
Do we want to move that up from, I think it's 10, or 10, 11, 12, 13?
Do separately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
move-
Lynn and Matt were going to introduce him.
But do
The
you
one
want
that's not here is Matt Johnson because he just got married and he's on his phone.
That's okay.
I said, change your mind. Board President, I will call the meeting to order. All board members are present except for Mr. Zeliff. If we could stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on our agenda is a presentation from DGA and SEI. I want to thank the board for spending the last 45 minutes to an hour in touring our campus 2 weeks into our Capital Improvement Projects 2020. For the community, I just wanted to provide some slides of the work that has been done over these last 2 weeks. To the board, personally, working here the last 2 weeks, these guys are working 24/7. The amount of work that has been accomplished, or should I say the amount of destruction that has occurred on this campus over the last 2 weeks is unbelievable. And so I'm just going to kind of filter through some of these slides, again, more so for the community at this point. We have Mike, AJ, and Peter from DGA, and Rich and Ted from SEI to answer any of the board's questions. But I had mentioned to the board that over the course of this work, the next 16 to 18 months, I will provide the board with a monthly update as far as pictures, scheduling, the work being accomplished, the work that is accomplished, budgeting, any information that you're looking to, understand or find out. And then again, before each board meeting, I'm happy, to spend an hour, and we will continue to tour the campus so you can see the amount of work and what we're accomplishing here. But I don't know if the board or anybody in the public has any questions for DGA or SCI, as again, we're on week number 3 going into this project.
So as John said, we will probably about the end of this week have a report for the month of June prepared for you. Once you get the first one, if there's something in there that either draws a question, or if you want to see further detail, let us know. We can basically tailor those monthly reports to whatever information you want to see. So I think John did a good summary of what the report's going to contain. It'll basically have an executive summary, tell you where we're at, any challenges that we're trying to resolve. We'll show you a budget summary and where we're at budget-wise with contingencies. We'll have a copy of the schedule in the report. For those of you that really want to dig into the detail, you can see that. We'll have a contract summary, which is kind of this, that feeds into that same budget picture. Then we'll have some pictures of the work in progress as well. So, but by all means, when you see that in a week or so, that monthly report, if there's something in there that you want more information or have questions on, reach out and we'll make sure we can get that information as quickly as possible. To John's point, the work's going really well. That's why we urged the project to move forward, even though there were some challenges on bid day with the budget overall. We've got great contractors who are making tremendous progress right now, just in these few weeks. Those of you that walk through the elementary school can see that. Quite a bit of work done. So we're in good shape and going to be cranking along for the next 8 to 9 weeks to get everything ready for kids coming back in September.
For your outside work, the weather that we had today, does that shut you down outside for the afternoon, or how do you
No, they didn't miss a beat. They sat in their trucks and waited it out and went right back at it. I mean, if you have a day full of rain, yes, that's gonna hurt a little, but our site contractor is, this week we'll be working 6 days a week right now, and there is some talk of extended hours on those 6 days.
So is that just the first shift? Is there any two shifts working right now, or just a single shift?
Just a single shift.
Yeah, no B shift work planned for now. That once we get into school, days and school hours, then we'll start looking at B shift, and we're going to try to minimize interaction between construction work and kids in the learning environment. So we'll see more of that in the fall. So I probably should. Mike's on site daily. Mike Dixie is our project superintendent. AJ Pesci is our assistant project manager, helping me with all the numbers and the scheduling. So these guys are here on a daily basis, making sure you get what you paid for.
So I'm sorry, man, go ahead.
When are we seeding lawn back down, just so I have an idea of like scope and time frame? So doing all that parking lot work and then sort of beautifying with more green grass. When?
Probably into the fall, September, I would say. You're not going to grow much before then. Probably not tell anybody they don't know, but to grow grass in the middle of summer is pretty tough. So probably won't see that until into the fall, and it should come up quick once it goes down.
So I've looked at a few state comptroller audits of capital projects in the last couple of weeks, and there's recommendations that I was kind of looking for. So when I looked at those, kind of a theme that went through all of those was just the idea of transparency with expenditures, and that was the same thing. And I read those state comptroller audits with a grain of salt, because it's their job is to find something. But the one thing about the transparency that kind of caught my eye was not just the transparency with the board, but also with transparency and expenditures, and we talked about value engineering. And I'm just curious if that's going to be something that we're going to see as we kind of progress through, if that's going to be in our June numbers, because I felt like, you know, we were saying it was going to come under, obviously didn't for some really good reasons, but how is that value engineering working, and where are we at now?
Still a work in progress. We will include a copy of that in this first and maybe even the second report. It should all be resolved by the second report by the time that gets issued. It's still a challenge, but we've made some progress. We've got a little ways to go. But absolutely, you'll see that. We can also, we'll also include in that monthly report what we call an issue log. So you'll see, we basically track any issue from the first time someone hears about it until it's either closed out, removed, or becomes part of a change order. And you'll see the pricing, you'll see what our estimate of that issue is when it first pops up. And we're basically trying to manage your contingency. So we need to know, we usually put an estimate on that issue as soon as it pops up, just to know where are we at today. Then the next step is we'll get a proposal in from the contractor if it's a cost issue. We don't stop there. We usually go back at the contractor. We go through those with kind of a fine-tooth comb and make sure that the pricing's fair. So you may see a delta between that original proposal and what ends up getting agreed to as far as a written change order. But you'll see that whole process in that issue log that's part of that monthly report. So yeah, our aim is to be transparent with all of this stuff. Obviously, you know, you don't want to see every nut and bolt,
Right.
but you want to have the information there so that at least you can kind of look in and have that comfort level. And there's no really other way to do it other than to kind of show you everything.
And then to Matt's point too, like there's got to be a timeline that you guys are adhering to, and are there benchmarks aligned the timeline that we could be made aware of it, like ahead of time? I'd love to, like for the grass, we expect to see it coming in sometime in the fall.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and it just, I'd love for us to be able to be in the know, and then when we're asked, we can say, well, yep, this is what's happening there, take a look, this is what's going on, and they're right on target.
Yep, so what you'll see in that report, the first section is an executive summary, which just gives kind of narrative of what's going on, the work that's happened. Like I said, any challenges, so you're aware, you know, somebody's gonna make a claim, or somebody's having a problem, or there's a disagreement about some issue on site. If it's a major one, we're gonna put it in that report so that you know about it. The second component is a schedule summary. So in addition to that kind of Gantt chart schedule, where you'll see maybe a little bit tough for some people that don't do it every day to read a Gantt chart, we also provide a narrative on the schedule itself. So we'll say, you know, we're a week ahead of schedule, or we're a week behind, but here's how we're going to make up that time. We'll also have a list of milestones in that schedule summary that say, you know, here's our start of school milestone, here's our, you know, winter recess, because we're usually trying to pack work into that week and a half in winter recess. So you'll see all that plotted out in that schedule summary section. Again, another week or so, we get that to you. And then certainly if there's something you don't see in there, then holler, and we'll, like I said, we can tailor those. I've done monthly reports that are like this and some that are like this thick. So whatever information you want is what we're going to give you.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Is there going to be paths for the children that ride their bike to school? I know right now they're coming around the back of the building, and we just saw the construction for what that's looking like.
Right, I didn't hear your first part.
Sorry, the children who ride their bikes to school right now, they come down Main and they go around the back of the high school, past the tennis courts. So will there still be a safe path for them to access?
So part of this whole site work is having elevated walkways across the different parts of the front of the school to get to the elementary, especially if they're coming from in town. Correct me if I'm wrong. So there's going to be a pathway that will let the community know that if children are walking or riding their bikes to school, whether they're walking or riding to the high school or to the elementary, there's going to be raised walkways that will be noted. So kids can safely cross the parking lots, and the community will know, and cars will have to stop. There'll be raised surface levels, so cars won't be zooming in and out of here.
The vast majority of this site work that you see all torn up out here will be put back together and ready for September. So there may be a few things like growing grass, the tennis courts, we'll see, that should be close. There's a 30-day cure process that happens between when you put the new asphalt. It has to kind of bake out before you can put the new coating on it. So that one should be close, but definitely completed in sometime in September. But the vast majority of what you saw torn up out there right now will be all put back together before you come back to school.
We have gone, and our site contractor has asked to do this in 1 year. He gave us a slight credit for doing everything in 1 year. Excuse me. So he's committed to have this done for September for when the kids come back. Tennis courts might be a little later. Well, that's something that can lag. That's not for safety, that's not for anything. So if we have to pick anything that's gonna lag, it'll be the tennis courts. All the other site work will be done.
Anything else? Thank you guys, appreciate it. Like I said, I can tell you over the last 2.5 weeks being here, it's amazing. You know, I pull in at 7 o'clock and these guys are working, and I'll leave here at 4 or 5 and they're still working. Unbelievable job, really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
I'll check on that ID tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, next on the agenda, Justin, I'm sorry, this needs to come first. All the board members, you have a paper in front of you that has your oath of office. Obviously, you were elected onto the Board of Education, or you are continuing your term. So if you could read your oath of office and sign, I'd appreciate that. And now that you've all signed your oath of office to be a board member on the Oakfield-Alabama Board of Education, the next order of business is to elect a board president for this next school year. So now the floor is open for nominations for board president.
Nominate Justin Stabell.
There's a nomination for Justin. Is there a second?
Second.
Do I have any other nominations for board president? So just for Justin, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Justin, you're the new board president. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Justin, I have an oath of office for you. If you could raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of school board president according to the best of my ability.
and the office of school board president according to the best of my ability.
If you could sign that.
Who's the last guy, last one?
All right. And I'll turn the meeting over to you, Justin.
Okay, thank you, Matt, thanks for your service as the president. Appreciate it. So now, I will take nominations for vice president.
I'll nominate Jackie Yumper Davis.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any other nominations? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, Jackie, you are the vice president. And I think I have to do the same thing. All right, so you just, I'll read this paper.
Just read that to her.
All right, okay. So ready, please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of School Board Vice President
of the office of School Board Vice President
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Jackie. And I think she's got to sign this. All right. Okay, be it resolved that Jackie Davis-Yunker, or Yunker-Davis, is the Vice President of the Board of Education. Well, we've already done that part. Right, so then, I will move on. I will get this, give me. All right, so just to clarify, this is a reorganization meeting, and part of that reorganization meeting is going to help us to understand what our roles are on the board, and then what our roles are within our school district. And a lot of this is going to be done through consent agenda. And in the past, we've wondered, or people have brought up the concern, well, where can people see that agenda kind of itemized out, or who's been approved of what? And I think we've said that the minutes are then posted on our website, I believe, right
That's
there?
correct, yes.
And so it'll have a better understanding of what all this consent agenda really is. And then I also think that if we got on board docs, we would be able to see it through board docs as well. Is that something the public would have access to?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so this is going to be a fast meeting, and if we were to go through it item through item, we would be here all night long. So a lot of this is just going to be taking place by moving these together. With that being said, we're going to go to the appointment of officers, and be it resolved that items 5.2 through 5.8 be approved via consent agenda. Do I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes. Let's go to item 6 on the agenda, appointments by the Board of Education. Be it resolved that items 6.2 through 6.13 be approved via consent agenda.
Excuse me, Justin.
What did I,
Do you have-
did I miss it? What did I do?
I think
I think
you're
you have
on.
an old version.
There's an update.
I think I do have the old version. I
There
was
should be a
taking
new,
notes. I didn't even get on here. I was here. I
Here.
got it right here.
Should be
Sorry,
one that
guys.
you
I
got.
just- Thank you. I was on the old one. Sorry, guys. So let's see.
So we were moving on.
Seven.
Matt, do you have?
7
you just-
appointments by.
Oh, do I have his copy?
You have his copy.
Okay,
Yep.
sorry, Justin.
No, that's all right. I'm gonna need it though, because I just would like to.
It's all yours.
Thanks.
Here, take
That's
this
all
one
right.
too.
So you'll want to jump to number 7.
Thank you. Sorry, I was trying to take notes on it earlier today, so I didn't goof up.
I was getting lost there for a second.
I did goof up. So
Just
where,
numbers, that's all.
where are we? We're at 6?
6.1.
We're on 7.
We're at 7. Okay, so item 7, appointments by the Board of Education. And then be it resolved that items 7.2 through 7.13 be approved via consent agenda. Do I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. Now, we're going to go to, that was the 7.13, so go to 8. All right, other appointments by the Board of Ed. Be it resolved that items 8.2 through 8.6 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, item 9, designations. Be it resolved that items 9.2 through 9.3 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. 10, authorizations. Be it resolved that items 10.2 through 10.8 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 11, bonding of personnel. Be it resolved that the bonding of personnel for the 2021-2022 school year be approved as follows. A, treasurer, $200,000. Deputy treasurer, $2 million. Extra classroom activity fund treasurer, $50,000. Internal claims auditor, $2 million. Custodial employee / courier, $1 million. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. 12, readoption of all policies, regulations, and procedures. Be it resolved that items 12.2 through 12.4 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. 13, cooperative bidding through GVEP, Wayne Finger Lakes, and Erie One BOCES. Be it resolved that OACS be authorized to partake in cooperative bidding through GVEP, Wayne Finger Lakes, and Erie One BOCES for the 2021-2022 school year. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thanks. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Passes.
Justin, if I could just clarify for the board,
Yes.
What we normally would call the Genesee Valley Educational Partnership, GVEP, they have reverted back to Genesee Valley BOCES. So just to clarify, the proper term for that is now the Genesee Valley BOCES. So the GV BOCES, not GVEP, not the Educational Partnership, just for the school year.
Yeah,
It's
watch
up from
it.
the school.
Dan's listening, right, Dan?
That's correct.
You're
I will change that accordingly.
Thanks, John. So let's move to 14 here. Appointment of the district's committees on special education. Be it resolved that items 14.2 through 14.4 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Okay, Medicaid Compliance Officer. Be it resolved that the Director of Student Services be appointed to the position of Medicaid Compliance Officer for the 2021-2022 school year. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 16, establishment of the district mileage reimbursement rate and non-resident tuition rate. Be it resolved that current IRS mileage rate be established as the district reimbursement rate for the 2021-2022 school year. Be it resolved that the non-resident tuition rate be established as follows. 1, regular education, K through 6. It says to be determined by New York State ed. 2, regular education, 7 through 12, to be determined by NYSED. 3, students with disabilities, K through 6, to be determined by NYSED. 4, students with disabilities, 7 through 12, to be determined by NYSED.
We get those
Those come
allotments later on.
Right.
So you're just authorizing that whatever NYSED comes out with for our district, we use.
And that historically comes out in July, right, August, typically?
No, it's a year lag. So the final rate for the 2021 school year won't come out until December, January.
Right.
So you go off, and they do give you an estimate, but that can be adjusted all the way up through January.
Okay. Because I think I remember having this discussion last year, that there was a lag in there. So can I get a motion then?
So moved.
Second?
So,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. 17, school cafeteria prices. Be it resolved that the following school lunch prices be in effect for the 2021-2022 school year. A, middle high school lunch, $2.45. B, elementary school lunch, $2.20. C, middle high school breakfast, $1.50. D, elementary breakfast, $1.50. E, adult breakfast, $2.30. F, adult lunch, $4.25. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Now, this goes back to the free and reduce. We had this conversation earlier, I think, John.
We all free and reduce.
Yes.
Right, they're going with a seamless summer option. It's been extended and authorized through the next school year.
So anybody that wants a breakfast or lunch, irregardless of where their income bracket is, they
Correct.
qualify for a free.
They would get a free lunch. It's not even about
Qualification, they just get it
Correct.
by default. So if you're living and
Correct.
breathing and you're a student, you
Correct.
get
Yes.
no qualification otherwise. Okay.
That's through the next school year, this coming year?
Right, they've extended it a full school year.
And to what? We get
The
quite a few.
reimbursement rate is very good. I have to say that our cafeteria manager is very proactive in going with the best program for us. Our reimbursement rate for those meals is significant the way she's doing it.
is that still on a 12-month schedule? It's going through the summer as well?
Yes, it starts July 1 through next June 30th.
Can I get a motion? Can I get
Just need a vote.
Need a vote? Thank you, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, be it resolved, this is for 18, use of school facilities and transportation by outside for-profit organizations. Be it resolved that the following rates be approved for the use of school facilities and transportation by outside for-profit organizations for the 2021-2022 school year. A, $30 an hour for use of building after normally staffed hours. B, $25 per hour for transportation use plus 2 mile. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? And I think we discussed this last year as well. This is,
We normally don't charge for outside groups to use our facilities unless it's an extenuating circumstance. If they want something on a Sunday afternoon where we do have to staff, we will charge. But normally on a weekday, weekend, when there's people here, we normally don't charge them.
and that may be coming back this year, right? We may have people back in our building.
I am hopeful.
All right, good. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 19, other items. Be it resolved that items 19.2 through 19.6 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
There's just one on 19.7, and I talked to Tara about it. I think it still has for the Health and Wellness Committee, Nicole Morosco still in there.
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah, we're getting to that in just a second, Jackie. I think this is through
Okay.
19,
So it just
up to
would normally be
19.6.
left blank under there. Otherwise,
We're right up on that, the next one. That'll be the next part, the point.
yeah, that was my only question.
All in favor? I'm sorry, is there any more discussion? I shouldn't cut you off like that, Jeff. Is there any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, Jackie, it's the committee assignment that we're going to go to, 19.7. And you were saying the health and wellness, right, where it says Nicole Morosco there, who, Jackie, you're talking about, and who is that changed to then?
That's changed to Connie.
Connie,
Yes,
right. Okay.
correct.
Okay, so this is where we kind of go through and determine who's going to be on what committee. And just for a point of reference, looking back to last year, what did I have here? Where am I at? We had Instructional Technology Committee was Lorna. Health and Wellness, I think, Jackie, that was you. Safety Committee was Dan, right, I think. Code of Conduct was Pete. I was doing the Haxton Library, and then for SOAR, it was Matt, Jackie, and myself. So I don't think we're locked into any of these positions, but I think there was one that we were looking at to kind of make sure there was some continuity. Was the SOAR committee, and Jeff, have you expressed?
I would like to go back. I was on that for years. I would go back on that.
I think it would be valuable to have you back on there. I think it would add to some of the historical relevance that I felt was in question a little bit last year in our meeting that we had. I think you have the background
Yeah.
why things are the way they are.
Yeah.
And it would make sense for you to be on that. Jackie and Matt, are you still interested in being on those committees, on that committee? Okay. So Jeff, Jackie, Matt. And I think we've done 3 in the past, from what I understand.
Yeah, it needs to be 3.
Right, and that I didn't think we needed any more representation. I felt like it was pretty equal in the room.
Yeah, I think we get ourselves in trouble if we've got a 4th there, because then it's a quorum of our
Right.
school board. And
I can't recall how many they had.
it should be 3.
Right, okay, because it was Hare and then,
Yeah.
and Trish was still on there.
Yeah, Trish.
Yeah, okay.
Like Reiner.
So we're set. Dan, what are you thinking you'd like to do here?
I'll stand as safety.
Okay.
Anything jumping out at you there, Maria?
Yeah, Miranda.
Looks like there's a vacancy on the tech committee.
That
Any interest
is
there?
not a strong suit for me.
What's that?
I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not being an asset on that committee. Safety committee would be something I would be interested in, if I could join Dan.
Usually,
Pete
Maria,
would be interested in the tech committee. Is anybody interested in tech?
do we want to have more than one person per committee?
I think you could.
We could.
If there's
Okay.
interest.
All right, so Maria, I could do the Haxton Scholarship again. Maria, Safety Committee.
I'll still stay with health and wellness.
You want to do Health and Wellness? Okay, Jay. Let's see here. Pete did the Code of Conduct, right, last year?
Is anybody interested in that?
I've done that one before as well. I mean, if he had no interest, I would do that.
You want to do that one, Jeff, and then we'll put Pete in the technology committee here. Not that there's anything wrong with the technology. I forget you're behind me.
I think that suits Pete's background very well.
Does it? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There's a lot of GPS.
Yeah.
So Jeff, Code of Conduct.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like it's fairly well dispersed. And then there's a description here in the minutes if you're unsure of what it is. I don't think these are terribly time-consuming, any of these. Do we know when the SOARs meet, John, at all, by any chance? 'Cause that was
We're
right after.
We're gonna meet soon. Our first meeting is usually towards the end of July, before the fall sports begin in
It was looking
late
like-
to mid-August.
Yeah, okay.
There might be a couple changes, but it's always good to meet. I'll set up, I'll talk to Gretchen over at Elba, and we'll set something up with her representatives, and then.
Sure.
How
Yeah,
long
it's
is
different.
Keith on for them in their interim? Because Keith was a big part of putting this together, right? So you were on a year before me, Jeff. Was it Keith Palmer? So he's doing their interim superintendency.
He
for
is.
Elba, yeah.
Okay.
So he brings back some of the history of the
Yeah.
agreement.
I'll reach out to them this week, and we'll set up a time, and I'll contact
So there's
Jeff,
overlap right
Jackie,
now
and
between
you, Matt.
Keith and Gretchen?
See if the time works.
Not with Gretchen, but with their interim. Oh yeah, between two. I don't know what their schedule is on how Keith is finishing up and Gretchen's starting, but I did wonder if Keith would still be their superintendent at the time of this meeting.
I don't know, because Gretchen threw out there today that today was her first day on the job, so.
So it might be wrapping up there, and then it might be a whole different atmosphere with her.
So, so I'll reach out to her, and we'll set up a time and make sure it works for you guys.
If you could forward the agreement to us again, so we're all
Yep.
clear with it. Thanks.
Okay. So do I have to get a motion to?
Yes, you should have gotten a motion, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay, Tara. All right, but you're gonna have to guide me a little bit here. Can I get a motion, let's see here. Be it resolved that the following Board of Education members be appointed as committee members on the following for the 2021-2022 school year. Instructional and Technology Committee will be Pete Zila. Health and Wellness Committee will be Jackie Yunker Davis. Safety Committee will be both Dan and Maria Thompson. Code of Conduct Committee will be Jeff Hyde. Hacks and Scholarship will be me. And then SOAR will be represented by Jeff, Jackie, and Matt. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, down to 19.8. This is for the Board of Directors, Hacks and Scholarship Fund. Be it resolved that the following persons be appointed to the Board of Directors of the Hacks and Scholarship Fund for the 2021-2022 school year. District employee, Matthew Peterson, Board member Justin Stabell, bank representative, it's blank here, Tara, I can't recall. Is that Kristen Bucheri there? That would be the bank representative?
I do not know. I just know it's a bank representative, so
Okay,
that
so
may
just
change.
whoever it is, okay,
Yes.
and put there, right? Kristen Bucheri, and then middle high school counselor Chad Agan. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Thanks. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Be it resolved that the reorganizational meeting be adjourned at 6:40 p.m. Can I get a motion? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. I'd like to, we jump right into it, right? Call the meeting, the regular meeting into order at 6:41 p.m. And then we've already had our presentations today. And be it resolved that the minutes of June 15, 2021 meeting be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, for visitors request, I think I'm going to read this document first. For
Yep.
okay. So visitors, welcome to tonight's, or visitor, welcome to tonight's board meeting. It's very formal. It's very formal. Welcome to tonight's Board of Education meeting. Board meetings are generally held on the third Tuesday of the month. We will have a period of time devoted to visitor requests following the administrative reports. Individuals wishing to address the board will be permitted to speak up to 3 minutes. A total of 15 minutes will be allowed for public comment. Some advice for making the most of this time: state your name and address for the record. This will allow us to send information to you if the need should arise. Be concise so your message can be delivered in the 3-minute time frame. This will give others the opportunity to be heard. Discussions involving individual district personnel or students are not permitted in public session. Matters involving district personnel or students should be addressed with the administration. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. The board is present to hear your comments tonight, but may refrain from commenting until we have had the opportunity to thoughtfully reflect on what you have said. If your comments require a response from the board, we will follow up with a response in an appropriate manner. We thank you for your input and comments and encourage you to attend the board meetings on a regular basis. So this is Bartholomew. I right on there. Rob, is there a spot that we?
We'll just,
You're good right there. Okay. Yeah, you're okay. So whenever you're ready.
Most of you know me. I'm Michelle Bartholomew. My son just graduated this year, and Christina is going to be a junior coming this fall. I am here to discuss about the yearbooks that were out this year that I'm still very upset about it, because what's supposed to be my son's graduation turned out to be afterwards, you know, people coming up to me and was telling me about the yearbook and how malicious it was of putting my son's picture from an ugly baby site. And his quote wasn't in there also. I guess I just want to know from everybody here as to what's going to happen to these individuals that did this on the yearbook committee. I want to know if there's going to be a consequence, because what I thought was malicious and it was intended to be done. Who takes a picture off an ugly baby site and put it in somebody's picture? That's uncalled for. I don't know where the administration was as far as who was supposed to be monitoring these kids. I don't know what have ever happened with that. I'm asking to be refunded the yearbooks for both my kids, because I just think it's horrible. I think what you guys are doing is nice as far as taking the individual and changing it out just for that yearbook itself, but it's still 20 years down the road, somebody's going to look at these other ones and say, ha ha ha, when I don't find it funny, because I think if it happened to your kid, you wouldn't find that funny either. So I guess for a consequence, I came up with some ideas. I don't know if you guys even had a chance to discuss it, but I'd like to read a couple just in case if anybody's interested in doing something. But a thing that I think should probably happen is let these kids who took this class fail the class and no credit is given to them. That would mean in their senior year, they're going to have to take another class to make up for that, their wrongdoing. Another one would be, I would like to see this put in their transcripts so when they go apply for colleges, they can see what they have done to this yearbook and to our school. Number 3, I think this is a little over the top, but I think they should be in my position to understand how I feel. Not be allowed to play sports in their senior year. Or not be allowed to participate in any school functions such as dances, football games, or anything like that. Something needs to be done for their act, because I just feel that this is just wrong and who knows how it's going to continue on, if it will continue on. That's just my thoughts. I mean, if you really think about it, what they did is a form of bullying. And I don't know how my son was chosen. My son don't even know half those kids on that yearbook staff. He wasn't even here half the year. He does BOCES, he did BOCES on Thursdays and Fridays, and he leaves at 11 o'clock Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So he's not here to even harass or do anything to any of these kids that were on there. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
And if there, oh, one more thing, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And if you do come up with something, I feel like I, as a parent, have a right to know what you come up with as your punishment. Because I just want to see if something is going to be done and not be thrown under the carpet because it's summer vacation. And I just feel like we have a right to know. That's just my opinion.
Definitely pretty frustrating to have that happen.
I got 3 kids. A similar, not similar, I shouldn't say that, but when my daughter graduated in 2014, they screwed up her top 10. They couldn't wait for the top 10 final numbers to come in, and they put somebody else's picture in there instead of hers. And what they did was sticker every single one of those yearbooks of her picture over the top of the other person. That's tacky. But it is what it is. That's how we had to live with that. I mean, I used to work in a newspaper. I know what stop the press means. And they just went ahead and sent that out without waiting for the final numbers for the top 10. I mean, should I prepare not to buy a yearbook when Christina graduates? Because that's 2 out of 3.
I think the question is intentional and unintentional.
That one I
I can
asked.
speak on that one. So I don't know what the process is. Can I talk and stand up and talk now? Or is it?
I don't see any reason why not.
Heather Dieterle, Zachary Russell's mom. And whether there's a question of intent or not, there is absolutely no doubt that it was intent. And saying that, same thing happened to my son. People were coming up to him, and if anybody knows Zach, they'll understand this, but people were coming up to him saying, wow, Zach, your baby picture, wow. And they're like, he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, it's really not that great. And so that's what he heard all day. So he came home, and he goes to me, Mom, that baby picture I sent in, it was cute, wasn't it? And I'm like, well, yeah, it was really cute. What do you mean? And he goes, well, I had a lot of people saying to me how bad my baby picture was today, how ugly it was. And I'm like, Zach, I don't know, it's really cute. The next day, another student came up to him and said, yes, Zach, you finally got to school. You went out with the roar. And Zach's like, I don't know what you're talking about. They're like, your baby picture. And he was showing his baby picture because he did not have a yearbook yet. And he's like, that's not my baby picture. He goes, that's not me at all. So I went and I did a Google Lens on that baby picture, and it is part of the top, it's number 5 out of the 22 most awkward baby pictures of a photographer has ever taken. I also did a Google Lens on Zach Bartholomew, and he was one of the top ugliest baby pictures. And I will not give where I also found that, because there's an exact link to where that's found on somebody's Pinterest. So I'm not gonna name names, but this was definitely intentional. It was definitely malicious, and it was definite bullying. So however you wanna slice or dice it, that's what that was. And how far we take it is depending on ramifications. Now, these students should not be allowed to be in any yearbook committee ever again, because if you don't hold accountability and responsibility, you're teaching them it's okay to print fake news. It's okay to print stuff that's not real. It's okay to take a picture and say it's somebody when it's not. That's called impersonation. That's called lying. Also, you go ahead and put in a post saying this is what Xander Guinea said. He didn't say that. He didn't authorize it. He didn't permit it to be printed on his behalf. It was printed on his behalf saying he said it. That's a lie and that's impersonation. So these children need to be taught that there's consequences for your action. It's not funny when you're hurting other people, other students, and their families. I mean, I'm looking at this going, that's not what I wanted in my son's senior yearbook, for him to be remembered as the ugliest baby and everybody thinks it's funny. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. And as far as consequences go, yes, maybe we don't have a right to know what other kids are consequences, but you know what? If I see one of those kids on that yearbook committee next year, because that is public information, there will be holy hell to pay, because they need to be held responsible for their actions. And so I don't want to hear there was no intent, it was a mistake. And also, where is the editing? Where is somebody looking over that yearbook to make sure that everything that's printed is 100% correct, 100% accurate, and 100% right? Because it's the school's responsibility to make sure that that stuff that's printed in that yearbook is for those students that are graduating, for the students that are in their classes and everything else. I mean, I understand mistakes. I understand a name is misspelled. We all make mistakes, totally get that. But to let something be published that was and not check, and to come up with a Google search and find this on the ugliest babies, it's irresponsible. So I'm going to go along with, that we need accountability, responsibility, and these students shouldn't be allowed to just go on with their school year like nothing happened, like they didn't do anything, because they did. And I thank you again for the administration for taking, what I said, taking it into account, taking action on it. I mean, we're, doing the yearbook for everybody again. That's great. But you having to retract your statement when it was 100% students at fault and 100% a teacher or whoever that didn't go through it, I think it's wrong. I don't care what parents say or snowflake error or whatever. There were students that were responsible for it. They intentionally did it, and that is the truth. So that's what I have to say about it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions, guys? Appreciate you sharing your concerns, and we'll do our best to address it moving forward. So we'll move on to approval of warrants. Be it resolved that after an audit of the bills, payment of June 9th, 2021, warrants and internal claims auditor reports be approved. Can I get a motion? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, reports. Christine, anything on your end today?
Are we doing the treasurer? Approval?
Did I do it?
Approval of the treasurer.
Did I?
5.2.
5.2.
I'm sorry. There we go. Be it resolved that the treasurer's reports for months of April 2021 and May 2021 be approved as presented. Can I get a motion?
So,
Can I get a second?
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes. Now on to you, Christine.
I don't have a whole lot this month. We've been working really hard to get the ARPA plan in place and up to date and on our website. We received 15 feedback items on it. I think that's a sign too, though, that it was pretty thoroughly written, and I appreciate the administrative staff's support in getting that completed. It is out on our website now under departments, business office, and there's an ARPA plan link, so if anybody wants to go and look at that. We incorporated all of the feedback that we could into that. And there's also, if you go out to our website, you'll see there's an updated parking link. We update that weekly, keep that up to date so everyone knows with all construction going on in sight, where to go, where not to go. Safety's important here with the project, and we don't want anybody getting hurt or do that. We're busy with the capital project accounting, getting that all in place. Starting next month, you'll probably see a little more activity. When you see the treasurer's report, you'll see things on the capital project moving around, purchase orders being put on. So that'll help support some of the stuff that you're going to see also from the capital projects folks. And I think, we've got our band closing for the capital project. Justin, you'll have to be available sometime next week between now and the 20th to sign some paperwork on that. So financing for the capital project is coming through on that. We got the bids in today.
John?
As Christine said, we received some feedback in regards to our initial plan using our ARPA funding. The one thing that stuck out to us that seemed to be a main focus, a main concern was air filtration, air conditioning, things like that. And as you know, last year we were asking teachers to have their windows open. Is that the best way? And it's not. So we actually have a meeting tomorrow with our financial advisors. I spoke with Christine. I've talked to Jordan. I think there is a high priority in looking at what our options are to possibly air condition both of these buildings. Not only for the air filtration, but pockets of these buildings are nice and cool, and pockets of it are a steam bath. And more and more we're seeing, students with IEPs that need air conditioning for health concerns, and teachers themselves as well, and adults. And knowing that we're putting in brand new windows in this building next year, I'm tired of Jordan's crew moving the window air conditioners around, let alone them sticking out of the windows. They're not secure. And so we're really making this a push to see what our options are. We may be in a situation where we could do a small capital project that involves just the air filtration and putting air conditions in both of these buildings. We're having summer school starting here next week. And guess what? Kids still have to mask, and so do the teachers. And you throw in a day like today that's hot and humid, it's impossible, it's uncomfortable. So I'll keep the board apprised of what our options are, but we're kind of leaning it at, how can we get this accomplished within the next year? And now's the time to do it with the capital project that's going on. So I can't make any promises, but we're gonna look at every avenue and every monetary thing that we possibly can to see if we can, get a system in here where it's comfortable to live and teach and learn it. So that seemed to be the main focus of the feedback, was the air filtration and getting some air in this building. And I completely agree. And I just want to give the board an update. We are holding committee interviews for our math and literacy specialist within this next week. And we are excited to hopefully find the perfect fit. We do have some appointments later on in the agenda of some of the positions we have filled. And so we are so happy with the people that are joining us. There's a lot of exciting things going on, but we still have some vacancies to fill. So we'll have those for you probably at the July 27th meeting for your approval, because then we do have mentor-mentee training in August. So just a couple more vacancies to fill. We're on top of that. And again, there's a couple appointments later on in the agenda tonight to approve. And so happy with the people that we've talked to and want to be part of our OE team. So other than the destruction going on outside, it's a busy summer. That's all I have.
Remote teaching for next year, so we sent out a survey asking students if they're interested to be remote or in person. So we've got the BOCES potential option for those that want to be remote. Is that just high school or middle high school? Or
Yes.
is that all the way down?
No, I've talked with administration. We feel it necessary for middle high school that if a family wanted to take that remote option, and we had to provide that remote option, that grades 6 through 12 would go to the remote academy. The remote academy for the elementary students, I think is tough. I think it's tough for those young kids to be on there. I think it's easier to have a plan for those types of students at the elementary rather than the middle high school where they have 7 or 8 different teachers and you know, different courses and things like that. At this point in time, we did send out a survey, and I believe, Matt, you had 1 or 2 families respond, and I don't think, Lynn, you had any yet. So obviously the numbers are way down, but we're just going to kind of feel that out come towards the end of August.
So what would the plan be then for remote instruction down in the elementary?
So, well, we're still waiting on the guidance. That's the big thing. If I am hearing that it's going to be up to the local school districts on whether you want to provide that type of option, which we've discussed, and I believe the majority of the school districts we are not providing that option. If we have to, then again, middle high school kids will probably attend the remote learning academy. The elementary, I mean, we'll have to see. You know,
I just would hate to see that shift on this teachers' workload that they already have.
I agree.
Because it's a lot.
I agree.
I wouldn't want it to at all.
Right.
So
I think as we navigated that, you know, we've thanked our staff profusely, and as we navigated the COVID year, you know, employees did what they needed to do to get us through, and I suspect that some are hoping that there's not going to be a new normal, which would include possibly educating the student in the classroom and at home at the same time. So,
right.
It sounds like we're getting at least a little bit of input from a few board members that we wouldn't be comfortable asking teachers to do both again, but realizing we take orders from the state, and I'm sure you'll come up with a plan.
But there could be creative solutions. I mean, there could be ways.
There could be. There's a lot more creative solutions at the elementary.
Right.
I mean, if you're talking, you know, 1 kid in a classroom, you know, we can make that work. You know, I can't give you the ins and outs of it right now. It's different if there's, you know, a kid up at the high school where they have 7 or 8 different teachers throughout the day, and it gets to be more of an issue, you know, as far as that goes. And you know, the Remote Learning Academy is something that's new coming out of GV BOCES. I was not sold on the elementary aspect of it. The middle high school I think will work. I just wasn't sold on the elementary aspect of it, because a lot of it did seem to be indirect instruction and a lot of on your own time, which is very tough for the younger kids. But again, that is something that as you know, the end of July and early August come, you know, hopefully we do get some guidance from the state. But you know, we'll I'll keep the board up to date. But I do fully agree that getting the remote learners off our teachers' plate is a very high priority.
It's extra, right? Like with extra work, you should be compensated for it. I think, like Matt just said,
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's just good practice at all.
No. They're not
you know, for the teacher or the student. So
I sat online for 7 hours today and I was a mess.
Right.
I was a mess.
Right, exactly. So I think there's a lot more flexibility with the young students, and you know, not paying the $8,900 to send them. The middle high becomes an issue. But again, per the survey that we sent out, we asked parents at this point in time to let us know if you were thinking of going completely remote. And like I said, I don't think Lynn has received any phone calls, and I believe Matt had less than 4. How many?
3 or 4 were interested, and we'll follow up and see how committed they are.
Right. So.
Was that families or students?
Those were, I believe, families, and I don't know the total list of students.
Okay.
but one at least that I spoke with has completely retracted that interest.
And then how do you handle it when they say that? You just
Try to give
accept
them all-
it and then that's it, or?
No, you try and give them the reality of it, what I've seen, my experiences are, and you let them know that it's not the ideal learning environment, and you just let them know what lies ahead.
And the academy itself will have a process to vet. The webinar that John and I watched or participated with, there's a survey that once Matt or I give a name, they reach out and they go through the survey with the student and the family to say, are you really this kind of a learner? Can you sustain this independence? Is this really going to fit for you? So there is a second layer of vetting that will happen and take place.
So they kind of shop the experience and see if they fit the profile that the
Right,
student
that
had
work
to
will
have.
happen before the school year starts to really commit or not. And if there's any way where we can look at that survey information and say, we don't think your child is going to suit well in this environment, what other ways can we accommodate you? Let's get creative within the building. Those are definitely opportunities for Matt and I to jump in and get creative with our thinking. You know, BOCES has come up with a really great plan. I don't want to be ungrateful for the services that they're offering. Like John had said, their program for the elementary students, they're not going to meet the needs of our students, our youngest learners. They don't have the contact time that they need. But then the flip side is we don't want 6, 7, and 8-year-olds on a screen for 8 hours a day to get that contact time. So BOCES did put together a really nice program. It's just something that, you know, John and I felt it wasn't going to meet the needs of our elementary students and the way our kids thrive in our environment. I think that we can emulate it differently and better here with some conversations and some intimate conversations with myself and the families.
Does it seem that's the direction that other school districts are taking as well? That the high school is going to kind of through the Genesee Valley? Or not necessarily?
They're not.
Hit and miss.
Yeah, it's kind of hit and miss. The thing that we need to be careful about is if a family says to us, we're going completely remote in the fall, we say, okay, but here's what could happen. If it comes down that the local school districts get to make the decision of whether you're providing a remote option or not, I'm not in favor of it. So instead of saying to that family, well, yeah, your kid is completely remote, nope, I guess you're homeschooling them, which is a completely different ballgame than having someone as a remote learner. And there are families that don't seem to understand that. So we can't really answer when someone says, yeah, I plan to have my kid learn remotely in the fall. You can't do anything with that yet because we just don't know what the guidance is going to come down. So when we hear that, we just, okay, well, here's kind of some of our options and we're just letting you know. And so I don't have an answer for you, but the numbers are way down. You know, and I do think, like I said, if we do have to provide that option, I think it's only less than, you know, a dozen kids that we would have to send.
What would the commitment be for that? I've worked in a few districts this year where they went from a hybrid model to more in person, and that transition back in to the full time, it was very difficult, especially for the younger children where they were detached. That social emotional piece they did not get from the screen. So is this when you sign up, you're committing for the whole year? Can they transition back in quarterly? How does that work?
So it would be different at the elementary because at the middle high, we would have to commit to that learning academy. Which is tuition based. So I would say for anybody grades 6 through 12, if we offered that option, it would be for the full year because we would have to pay the $8,900 to send them, which I do think, you know, is worth it for both our teachers and the student themselves. The elementary, like I said, that could be a whole different ballgame because I'm not sold on that program. And I think that we can somehow work that out at the elementary where, again, if it's, you know, a student or two that are learning remotely, you know, we could, you know, figure out a plan to make it work within inside our own district. And then if they wanted to transfer back into or transition back into in person, of course, that's our end goal. So we could do that.
business, so be it resolved, that's item 7.2 through 7.5 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
See, the Berenstain Bears are out. Did you look at that list?
Big question, is the Bill Cosby one just because of Bill Cosby?
He's got quite Little Bill's Adventures. That's
got a
quite
lot.
that's quite a
But
quite
it's
a
just-
read.
it's just
if
great.
you read in a different context.
Well, it'll be available, it sounds like, if you want to take it home, depending on this vote.
I already have a full set.
Good.
I have a full set years ago. It's all signed and everything.
Dear.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Let's see. Communications. I think that's you, Tara. Do we have any communications?
I did not have any.
No vacation postcards?
Nope.
Nothing.
No thank you notes, no anything.
Maybe for Mr. Peterson when he goes on vacation. We'll get something next week.
I'll make sure that.
Pictures.
From downtown Cork, New York.
That's one of my favorite spots. It's right next to Basin. Any discussion tonight? Okay. All right. So, if it's okay, I'm gonna adjust this just a little bit. I'm gonna do a consent agenda for personnel from 10.2 to 10.10. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. I just wanted to recognize, I think, 10.11, yes. Justin Olson has just been appointed the senior custodian down at the elementary. And I just want, this is the discussion part. So be it resolved that Justin Olson be appointed to the 6-month probationary position of senior custodian at the rate of $17.39 an hour, retroactive to July 1st, 2021. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion. I just want to congratulate Justin. I know Justin's worked here for several years, and he does a great job down there. And we just celebrated Scott's retirement here, I think, last week, and so he's got some big shoes to fill, but I think he's going to do a great job down there. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes. Good luck, Justin. And then we have some appointments here. And I think, let's see, the special education teacher here, Matthew Johnson.
Matthew is not with us tonight. He's, I believe he's on his honeymoon.
Oh. So, weak excuse.
He's also in downtown Cork.
Is that right? I'm trying to think. Val Hill?
Sunny.
Yeah, right. Is that where he's staying? Could be.
Daddy-o.
Yeah. Is that what it is now, Daddy-O's? No. Sorry, Mr. Peterson.
That's okay.
Okay, so we're going to go through these one by one, John. Is that right? Okay, so recommend approving the appointment of Matthew Johnson to the 4-year probationary position of special education teacher effective September 1st, 2021 and ending September 1st, 2025. Mr. Johnson holds initial certification in students with disabilities, generalist grades 7 through 12, students with disabilities, social studies grades 7 through 12, and social studies 7 through 12, and 5-6 extension. Salary to be step 2 with associated benefits of the OATA contract. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes. Let's see. And we have Valerie Bukensky. Did I get that right? Is that
Bojanski, yep.
Bojanski?
Bojanski.
Okay. And Now Valerie, it seems as if you're going to be here with Mr. Peterson. Good luck with him. Because he's tall doesn't mean he's scary. Congratulations on your appointment here. We're going to recommend approving the appointment of Valerie Bochensky to the 4-year probationary position of special education teacher, effective September 1st, 2021, and ending September 1st, 2025. Mrs. Bochensky holds initial certification in students with disabilities, generalist grades 7 through 12, salary to be step 1 with associated benefits of the OATA contract. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes.
Welcome.
Yeah. Now Valerie, where is this your first position?
This is my first teaching position, yes.
Congratulations. Where are you coming from?
I've been a special education teacher aide at Batavia Middle School for the past 6 years.
You're in a far better place. You're a far better place. Moving on to the next appointment is approval of the appointment of Holly Hudson to the 3-year probationary position of music teacher effective September 1st, 2021 and ending September 1st, 2024. Ms. Hudson holds professional certification in music, salary to be step 12 with additional graduate credits and master's completion with associate benefits of the OATA contract. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Holly.
Welcome, Holly.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
looking forward to doing summer with, actually, I think some of your kids are in summer programs, so, yeah, looking forward to it.
We're excited to have you. We're excited.
It's back at OA.
I won't ask you when did you graduate?
I graduated with my brother, 2001.
With my brother?
Yeah.
Oh, Derek.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
we're all the same year.
20 years.
20 years, yeah.
20 years. Congratulations, Holly.
Thank you.
For coming back.
Well, for 10 years.
Yeah, you guys are senior members of the board now.
Thanks, Justin, for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Marie. Oh, wait a second, Dan. You might be the senior member.
I don't know.
I don't know. My peripheral vision isn't as good as it used to be.
He's in black.
We're not going into executive session tonight.
No.
Right? So there's, board will not enter executive session. And it's time for closing remarks. Let's do this. Jeff, you want to start us off? Any closing remarks?
Just appreciate the opportunity from the community to get back on the board here and look forward to some good things, and hopefully we keep moving forward.
Good to have you back, Jeff. Maria?
I will echo Jeff. Thank you for the support of the board, the district, and the community. Really, really excited about what we saw in our walkthrough today and the presentation. Excited about our new friends that are joining the faculty and staff as well. Looking forward to serve. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Jackie?
Welcome, new board members, new and half new. Excited to serve with you guys, and really excited about the capital project stuff. Really nice to see some movement. I do have to say it's some mixed emotions just with all the change and everything from when we all were here. Just it's tough, but it's good, and excited for safety and for opportunities for our kids and students and faculty and everybody else. So, and thank you all for putting forth your effort always as hard as you guys work to get this moving and going. So much appreciated. Thank you.
Matt?
Yeah, just welcome to Maria and Jeff. Thanks for taking this on with us. I'm sure we'll have fun. That's all.
Dan?
Welcome to it. It is exciting to see all the construction and movement going on out there, and every day I go by here, something new or something's changed. It's good. It's good.
For me, thanks, Jeff, for coming back, and Maria, it's great to have you here. I do appreciate it. I think you guys are very plugged into the community. You're going to add a lot to our board. I I agree with Jackie. I think it is tough to see some of these changes. Speaking from a guy that just moved down 4 bedrooms in my hallway at my house, it's very hard to change really anything. But these are great changes, I think, for just safety purposes. The morning getting kids dropped off is, you can see it already, it's going to be a huge change, and I think just stay tuned. I think these are going to be very beneficial, just not safety or infrastructure, but the beautification. I think we've got great resources here inside the building with teachers. I think outside, we need to match it at some point. I think we're on our way to doing that. With that being said, be it resolved that the regular meeting of the Board of Education be adjourned at 7:22. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Have a good evening, guys. And a good vacation.
Thank you, Jackie.
How'd you work Valhalla into the minutes?
Always the North side of
I can.
the North
Yes.
side.